Hey, Plumber Tom here. If you're studying from the Mathematics for Plumbers and Pipefitters book, you've come to the right place. I'm glad to help you with your understanding. Don't forget to check in the description below this video for access to books and resources that will help you with your understanding. There are online courses and other things that you can take that will help you prepare for a state test. When you purchase from those links, you're helping me to be able to create more great content. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to this presentation of Mathematics for Plumbers and Pipefitters. My name is Thomas, and in this presentation we are going to look at Unit 47, which is Water Measure. If there is anyone on this planet that should know something about water, it is a plumber, or the plumbers, right? We should understand water very well, and this unit helps us understand the properties of water quite a bit better. So grab your books and let's see what we can learn about water. So here we have it, Unit 47, Water Measure. The objectives here are to review volume and weight measure of water, calculate water weights and volumes, and solve problems in metric measure. Sounds good? Okay. There are only a couple of little paragraphs here explaining this, but it's really great information. Let's go through it. Volumes are often computed in cubic inches for small quantities. The U.S. Bureau of Standards has set 231 cubic inches is 1 gallon. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this blue because we're talking about water, and that's a key number right there. 231 cubic inches equals a gallon. So if I can calculate the cubic inches and then I want to know how many gallons, the formula is right there. Divide by 231 and I will get my gallons. Let's go to the next one. Larger volumes are computed in cubic feet. There are, here's the number, hopefully you've heard this before, 7.5 gallons in 1 cubic foot. So if I have cubic feet and I want to know how many gallons, then I do cubic feet times 7.5 to get my gallons. Hopefully that one's a review. We've talked about it before. What about weight of water? The weight of water is 62.5 pounds per cubic foot. That's one way of looking at it. Or 8.33 pounds per gallon. This is another number that you should remember. I'm marking this, and you're welcome to mark along with me in your books. Get out some colored pencils. It could be fun. This brings us to a couple of formulas below here, right? Cubic feet times 62.5 equals the pounds of water. Or if I have gallons, I can times that by 8.33 to get the weight in pounds of water. Metrics, as you know, are much simpler. So metric volumes are often computed in cubic centimeters because 1,000 cubic centimeters is a liter. So if I'm trying to figure out how many liters I have and I have cubic centimeters, I just divide by 1,000 and I get my liters. Once again, jealous of the metric system. Why are we not using metric system? These are crazy numbers. 231, 7.5, 62.5, 8.33. But we're stuck with it. The standard American weights and measures, whatever. I'll put away my gripe. Let's move on with our examination of metrics. Larger volumes are calculated in cubic meters. So we're talking like big volumes of water. So a cubic meter is 1,000 liters. A liter of water weighs 1 kilogram. Once again, very convenient. 1 kilogram is about 2.2 pounds. A cubic meter of water weighs 1,000 kilograms, which is a metric ton. You see how metrics just come together? So great. Okay, what are we going to do with all this? This is all the information we're given in the beginning of Unit 47. Now we'll move on to sample problems and then some exercises. You're going to be using these numbers to calculate water measurements. Let's give it a try. Sample problem 1. A tank has a volume of 1,000 cubic inches. What is the volume in gallons? And how many pounds of water can it hold? Let's look for the solution. The first part, if I have 1,000 cubic inches and I want to figure out how many gallons, I can divide by 231, and that's going to give me 4.32 gallons. Pretty simple division problem. The second part, how many pounds of water can it hold? If I have 4.32 gallons of water and I want to know the weight, I can multiply by 8.33 to get pounds. So there's 8.33 pounds per gallon. That would give me 35.9856, or pretty close to 36 pounds. Basic multiplication. Let's go on to sample problem 2. A tank has a capacity of 80 cubic feet. How many pounds of water can it hold? Also, how many gallons of water can it hold? So let's look at 2A. If I have 80 cubic feet and each cubic foot weighs 62.5 pounds, I can multiply that and get 5,000 pounds. How many gallons is that? Well, if I have 80 cubic feet and there are 7.5 gallons per cubic foot, I can multiply that and get 600 gallons. Now, let me point out with sample problem 1 and 2, first we were looking at cubic inches. Then we were looking at cubic feet. When you're looking at these problems, please make sure that you're keeping your units straight. And you're using the right conversion factor for either cubic inches or cubic feet to do the math. If you mix these up, you'll get it wrong. But if you stick with the converter for cubic inches, that's 231, then you're going to be fine if you're converting to gallons. Moving on to sample problems 3 and 4, on the next page, we are going to find metric measurements. Number 3 says a tank has a volume of 1,250 cubic centimeters. What is the volume in liters, and how many kilograms of water would it hold? If I have 1,250 cubic centimeters, I can simply divide by 1,000 to get to liters. That gives me 1.25 liters. If I have 1.25 liters and I want to know how many kilograms that weighs, well, each liter weighs 1 kilogram, a liter of water, that is. So we just multiply by 1 and we get 1.25 kilograms. Fantastic. Let's go to sample problem 4. A tank has a capacity of 6.75 cubic meters. We're dealing with big volume this time. What is the volume in liters? What is the weight in kilograms? And what is the weight in metric tons? Let's start with volume in liters. If I have 6.75 cubic meters and each cubic meter is equal to 1,000 liters, I multiply by 1,000. So 6.75 times 1,000 equals 6,750 liters. Now that I have my liters, I can answer part B, which is what is the weight in kilograms? Remember that each liter weighs 1 kilogram when we're dealing with water. So multiply by 1, and I also have 6,750 kilograms. Finally, if I want to figure out metric tons, I'm going to divide that by 1,000. So 6,750 divided by 1,000 equals 6.75 metric tons. And that's it for our sample problems, which means it's time for you to move on and do your exercises. There are 7 problems that are going to have you do similar calculations using these conversions as you're dealing with the measurements and weights of water. Now remember that these measurement converters are actually very useful when it comes to plumbing math, especially on the state test level. And we've emphasized that throughout your apprenticeship, but you'll need to remember some of these key converting numbers because you can't bring your math book into a state test. Remember these and you'll do awesome. Good luck with your exercises. I'll see you in the next one.